if you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, welcome. We're talking all about our brains today, and there we go. Hey, Facebook.
Yay, Facebook.
Okay, Facebook, you're here too. Welcome to the party. But yeah, we're talking about our brains. We're talking about how to work with our brains and not against them, which I am. This is stuff that I love. I love just like getting into how our brains work and uh, and how to better use our brains. I know, like we just recorded on your podcast about mindsets, and that is like similar vein of uh how to work with our brain and how to like change our mind around things.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, no, I'm very excited to get into this. And yeah, Christy, welcome to the show. I'm excited to talk with you again. We, like I said, we just recorded on your podcast, so everyone go check out Dream Biz podcast, my episode or the many other episodes. I've been really loving because we met. I've been loving the podcast, by the way.
Thank you.
I do that sometimes where I just like cut off
Oh,
sentence.
literally same. I have ADHD and I do that all the time.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, if I just say I've been really loving, everyone's gonna figure out that it was the podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
They'll figure it out.
but yeah, I've been going through like some of your archives
Yay.
since we met a couple months ago at the Creative Educator Conference. But yeah, no, it's really great, and I'm excited to talk about our brains and everything. But yeah,
Me
could you
too.
give us a little background about you, what you do, where you're based, all those things?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited. Being on podcast is one of my goals for this year. And then when I met you at Creative Educator and you had a podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, stars are
Yes.
aligning.
Yeah.
So
Podcast
exciting.
swap. Let's do it.
Let's do it. So yeah, I am a business coach and I really work with people who are creative or neurodivergent, which is people with like ADHD, autism, things like that, that just don't fall into the neurotypical kind of way that a lot of business advice is tailored to for some
Yeah.
reason. So I work with people who maybe their brains work a little bit differently. You have creative energy that kind of just flows sometimes and other times it doesn't. And so people who have been like, you know what, like this business advice that I'm getting from people is not really helping me and I feel like so stuck and I don't know what to do. So those are the types of people that I work with to help them just accept their natural rhythms and the natural ways that their brains work and go with it instead of being like, well, my brain doesn't do this, that's so terrible, and like
Yeah.
shaming. Like nobody wants that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of us who grew up in like the 90s and early 2000s and the 80s too, it was just like a stigma
Oh yeah.
of, well, my brain doesn't work how everyone else's does. So I'm broken and it's going to be like this my whole life. And now like I was never officially diagnosed with anything.
Sure.
But through talking to different people, I'm just like, oh, that's a characteristic of ADHD.
Yeah.
That that could make some sense. Uh, and yeah, like there's so much that like that stigma holds a lot of weight, and I think is really hard for people to shake off. So I'm
Yeah.
very excited for this conversation that maybe we can brush some of that off for some people who are still holding that truth of or really not truth, but they're holding that as truth about
Yeah.
themselves and their brains.
I hope so.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm based in South Carolina. I'm from South Carolina. That's where I am. I've been doing photography. I didn't mention that. Sorry. My background is in wedding photography. I started my wedding photography business in 2009. So I've been going at this for a while. And then my husband and I moved to California, spent some time there. And that was in 2019. And since then, I've had like a few different transitions of my business. Did photo editing for a little bit, online business management for a little bit. And then I was really working to scale my business and grow my business and do everything that all the gurus said to do to reach six figures and like grow your team and all that stuff. And it ended up with me having a mental health crisis because I was doing all these
yeah,
things that they were telling me to do, but I was not following what my brain actually needed. And so I was having panic attacks like multiple times a week. And so that's when I was like, okay, this is not right. I know that I can grow a successful business because I've done it in the past, but for some reason, like this version is like feeling so icky and bad. And so that's when I kind of started really diving into like, okay, I want to actually help people build businesses that work for them and with them, where they can just feel so much more like free to be themselves. And I have found that over the last year that I've been working on that in myself. It's been so much better.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that because it is very much like a lot of the a lot of the advice out there is geared for neurotypical development. I mean, most of the education, our school systems and everything, they're not for, neurospicy people.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to try and like force yourself into this other figure. It's like trying to put like a square peg in a circular hole. It's
Round
just
hole.
like
Yeah.
this isn't working. I'm hurting myself, like, having a mental breakdown and just like getting completely overwhelmed, or just feeling like this isn't working, but I have no idea how to do anything else because this
Mm.
is all that I've been taught.
Yeah. And then a lot of times we think like, oh, well, the problem is me. I'm
Hmm.
broken. And so I need to just do better. And I need to find something that I need to just like fix myself and all of my problems, when that's not the truth. Like the truth is that you are perfect the way that you are. Maybe it's the system and the way that you're doing things that needs to change.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of the system and like how we can change things, what are some ways that we can work with our brains instead of working against them by using these systems that just don't fit?
Okay, I love this question. And I think that the first place to start would be to accept your natural rhythms. So, all of us as humans, we sometimes have periods of high energy and sometimes we have periods of low energy. And I think that a lot of advice, like, well, just time block yourself or just, put this thing at the same time of the week every single week and just do that. Like, that
Uh-huh.
is really just putting yourself in a box.
Yeah, I get bored.
I same.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I have to do this again every single Friday. I don't want to do this.
Yeah, exactly. You get bored and you get frustrated because you might sit down at your desk to like do that task that you have already pre-assigned as going to be your task for the day. And
Hmm.
then you're like, I just don't want to do this. And so it takes you like 4 hours to do something. Whereas if you were to do that task when you were like already ready to do that task, it would take you like an hour. So, like, number one, just accept your natural rhythms and start to pay attention to your natural rhythms. So, just like think about, okay, what time of day do you work best?
Yeah.
Like, what type of tasks do you like to do or like energizing, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people talk bad about like working till, the late hours of night. I am absolutely a night owl.
Yes.
Last night I had energy and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna work on some business. My wife fell asleep. She was not feeling that well last night. And I was like, you know what? I'll sit here, I'll like stroke your back, play with your hair
Oh,
a little
yeah.
bit, let you just like pass out like a cat on the couch. And then I still had energy. So I was like, I'm in my zone right now. I could either like watch a movie and then fall asleep, or I could actually get some work done. And yeah, there's really something to be said about like learning your body, and when you have those windows of productivity, and when your body is like, all right, I'm ready to work now, because 9 a.m. is not that for me.
Oh, exactly.
It's yeah.
Do you watch Hank Green on YouTube at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Love Hank and John.
Yeah, so he had a video recently where he literally talked about how there's like this actual, I don't know if it's like a condition. I hate the word condition because then it's like, oh, there's something wrong with you. But
Right.
some people's brains actually do have later body clocks, like where they just naturally work better if they work later. And
Yeah.
some people were like, no, work with like your circadian rhythm and like wake up with the sun and then go to sleep when it's dark. But it's actually like a studied thing where like some people, and Hank Green has it apparently, where like he does better work later in the day. And so it's a real thing. And so I think we
Yeah.
should just accept that about ourselves.
Yeah, that was I heard that. I don't remember if it was from Hank or if it was Dak Shepard on the
Oh
Armchair
yeah.
Expert podcast,
Yes.
but it's like something to do with like our ancestors that like
Mm,
way back in like the caveman days of just like the hunter gatherer and protector and like that kind of thing. Like some people who typically have like more of that night owl, the more energy at night, their ancestors are more typically the ones who were guarding. They were
yeah, like the
staying up
protectors
late. They were
during
the
night.
protectors of the camp. And like that, they slept during the day. And
Yeah.
like that was their circadian rhythm. And it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like it makes sense that I might feel more like that. And that like we're not all, because if we all, woke up at 6 a.m. and went to bed at 10 p.m., no one's there
Yeah, that would
to
be
guard the
terrible. Like
place.
who
Yeah.
would take care of us if we like needed emergency care or something, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's like going to a small town and like everything closes at 6. It's like, where do I go to eat food?
Literally nowhere, you're starving tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think number one, like just accept your natural rhythms, like know them and develop like systems to work with them, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. But beyond that, I think knowing your external motivators is really important.
Mhm.
So as a human with ADHD, I really need dopamine. I absolutely need things to be fun. If they are not fun, I do not want to do them. So a lot of business advice will say like eat the frog. Okay. So do your hardest tasks first. No,
Okay.
that does
I was
not
like, I have
work
not
for
heard this
me.
expression.
You've never
Yeah,
heard that?
most business goes
You
to
have
like
heard that.
eat your frogs.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
I have not heard that. No.
Oh, really?
So yeah, no, not in that way. I like once you explained it, I was like, okay, do the
Okay.
hardest thing first. Yes. Like I always that reminds me of like being a kid and it was like I will eat the green beans first because I
Yes.
hate green beans, and then I will have the mashed potatoes last because they're
Okay,
my
yeah.
favorite. So okay, so
That
something
works for
similar
you
to that,
when you're
eating
eating your food,
eating
but
the
sometimes it might not work for you for your business.
right. Yeah. Okay, so eat the frog, do the hard things first.
So that's like the typical advice is like
Oh, okay.
do the hard things first. But for me, I can't do that because if I try to do the hard thing first, I'm going to be beating my head against the wall and
Yeah.
it's going to take me hours and then I won't do anything. So
Hmm.
instead, because I am a person with ADHD and I really need dopamine, I do the fun tasks first. I know that sounds like bad advice, but
Yeah.
that's what works for me.
Eat your
So,
dessert first. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
all for this.
I eat my dessert first. So I make sure like if I'm going to ease into my day, like I'm going to do some things that are fun for me. Like I really like creating graphics on Canva or like doing posting on threads or something like that. I really like those things, but if I need to like make a presentation or something that's like harder for me,
Hmm.
so I need to do have some of those tasks where I ease into my day. For some people that might not work. So it's really just about like knowing what works for you. So just pay attention to like those times where you start to do work and you're like really energized and you're really having fun, then just be like, okay, well, what are the tasks that I'm doing right now that I'm having fun? And what is it that motivated me to get this done? So sometimes I can be motivated by fun and dopamine, but other times for me, I'm really motivated by deadlines. So if I have a deadline,
Yeah.
I'm going to get it done. I don't ever go past deadlines, and I have to make sure that I give myself hard deadlines because then I'm going to get it done. And usually I'm going to probably do it the night before, the day before, like
Yeah.
I've written 12-page research papers the night before they were due before. Like that just works for me. So
Yeah.
know what is naturally going to motivate you and work with that and build that into your schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. There was like a study done with people where they had two different sets of people and they gave them a task to like complete, like build this thing with what are those? Like popsicle sticks. They had to
Okay.
like build this tower and it had to be so high and whatever. And they gave one set an hour to do it. And then they gave the other one 15 minutes to do it.
Oh yeah.
And they both finished them. The one in 15 minutes, they finished it like right at the dot at 15 minutes. And the others, it took them the entire hour. They were like, minute 59. They're like, okay, done. We're done. And they all felt good about it. And it was because like when you give yourself time, you fill up that time.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm the same thing. If I have a deadline, it's like I'm not going past that deadline, but I'm probably going to come up pretty close to it.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, like, for some people, like, they may find that doing the harder task first is what works for them. But I just want to encourage people, like, if that doesn't work for you, like, it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be the case for you. You can go with what naturally motivates you. So know what motivates you to do work and put yourself in more of those situations to get your work done. Maybe you need to go to a coffee shop if you have a certain type of work to be done that you just find that if you're at home working and you never get it done, change up your environment and get that done. So just kind of have a little bit more like
Hmm.
intentionality behind the types of tasks that you're doing and when you do them, and just know what it is that fires you up and accept that and put yourself in more of those situations where you can get those things done that you need to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, cuz like for me, I'm the stay-at-home parent. I work from home, and whenever everyone's in school during the school year, I'm at home by myself, and it is very difficult for me to stay on task with the work thing. So I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can see the laundry over there," or I know that I need to do this, or there's that thing in the backyard that I've been needing to fix for like 3 months, and I can do that right now. And like yeah, going away to a coffee shop where it's just I can focus. Um,
Yep.
that was
Love
good.
that.
I do have a question about like how do you get like you're doing the fun things, you're creating the Canva graphics at the beginning, and just like the energizing, like the fun stuff that you enjoy doing. How do you get the hard things done? How do you eat your frogs
Yeah.
once you like? How do you not just like keep eating ice cream all day long?
Well, so deadlines, like I said, are really important to me. So if
Mm,
I try to put myself in situations where I'm going to have to do those hard things. So, for example, like if I'm going to be giving a presentation or a webinar or something like that, I know that because deadlines really motivate me, I know that I'm going to get the thing done. And so I try to give myself a deadline like, hey, hey, let me ask my business bestie. I'm going to send you this presentation tomorrow for this webinar that I'm doing. Can you look it over for me? So I give myself those external motivators that I know motivate me. So one thing I'll do is like give myself an external deadline before the actual deadline because I don't want to be like ill prepared for the webinar or the talk or whatever.
right.
So that's one thing that I do. Another thing that I do to get the hard thing done is I will like turn my desk into like standing mode and put on like really insane music that most people would not really enjoy listening to. I studied music in college and in graduate school, and there's this composer called Steve Reich, and he makes music that's called minimalism, and
Okay.
it's like the same thing over and over. Have you heard of him before?
No, no. I was trying to like visualize Steve Reich to see if like it's someone that
Yeah,
I've
no,
heard of.
no. So he makes music where it's like the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over, but then it will have slight changes.
Huh.
And most people, like my mom, she cannot stand it. But for me, for some reason, I'm like, yeah, I love this music. And so that gets me like, I'll put myself to where I'm like having fun and doing my work because like I can't listen to music with words while I'm trying to get something done
No.
because it gets me distracted, and I actually also can't listen to classical music because I am a classical music nerd, and so I get really like inspired. I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool." So I have to do something that basically just like drowns out my thoughts so that I can just focus on the task at hand. So I have
No, that's
certain things that I
smart.
can do to do
Yeah.
to do the hard tasks.
Yeah. No, that is good because like I love listening to podcasts,
Yeah.
but I will get like if I'm doing anything where I'm like writing copy for something or I'm answering emails, I can't listen to a podcast
Mhm.
because I'm in that conversation. It's taking up my words right now,
Yep.
and I can't put words over here. And the same thing with music that I know the lyrics to.
Mhm.
I'm singing along, or I'm just like in my mind I'm going along with the music, and can't do it. But yeah, I'm interested in the
Yeah.
Steven Reich.
Steve Reich, yeah.
Steve Reich. Okay.
Yeah, so and if I'm, like, editing
Hmm.
photos, I'll usually turn on a YouTube video or something, like, because that's, like, something that I can do and still edit videos. So just kind of, like, know what is going to motivate you, and so for me, dopamine is really important, so I have to do other things that will be fun while I do the hard task, or just give myself a deadline because I know I'm going to get it done, because like the shame of not meeting a deadline is so unbearable to me that I'm definitely going to get it done.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I'm all about like marrying the hard tasks with like fun things.
Mhm.
I do that around the house all the time. I talk about how like most of the TV shows that I watch, I just have like my phone up while I'm washing dishes or while I'm folding laundry. And I'm like, this is fun. Like
Yeah.
I will spend 20 minutes folding laundry because I get to watch the show or I get to
Yep.
watch this next little bit of this movie. Instead of if I'm just sitting there just focusing on that, I'm never going to do it.
Oh,
And it
a
is just
thousand
going to
percent.
pile up on my bed.
1,000%. I also think it's important to have like a system for managing tasks that actually works for you and your brain. So one of the coaches that I worked with, her name is Sarah Ziesler. She developed a system called the Intuitive Time Management System. And this system really works for me, or the Intuitive Task Management System, because what I do is literally all I do is I write down all the tasks that I need to get done on like a piece of paper. So I have my piece of
Mhm.
paper right here. It has all the tasks. And um, just because of the way that my brain works, I know that if it's on the list, it's going to get done. For some people, that might not be what works for them. And so I have this list, and when I sit down to work, I just pick a task from the list that feels really inspiring to me, and I do that task, and then I'll knock it off. And then by the time I've like gotten that work done, usually I'm like, okay, I could handle another task, and I can do that. So that's what I do. I just keep a task list, a piece of paper that works for me. It usually lasts me for like a sometimes a whole month. I'll have like the same piece of paper, but just make sure that I get those tasks done. But it's like I can pick and choose from the tasks instead of forcing myself to be like, okay, I have to do this right now, or I have to do this now. So I think
Mhm.
that's where like also having more like white space in your calendar can be really helpful, because if you're like constantly just having deadline after deadline after deadline after deadline, then there's not going to be any of that room for like fun or getting into flow where you're actually doing tasks that you really enjoy and are like energized by.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love having, like, a physical checklist because
Yeah,
there's nothing like that dopamine hit of just, like, crossing
a
out
thousand percent.
that to-do list and then, like, leaving it on there because I love that, like, you already had stuff crossed off on that
I
one. I
know.
don't know if that was from this morning or from earlier in the week or
Yeah, last
whatever.
week, a couple
Yeah.
days ago.
Yeah, no, that's perfect because like, you look at it and you're like, "Oh, yeah, I've already done a few of these. This is great." Also, shout out to Laylee. I didn't recognize the, um creative educator conference
Yes. Oh, yeah. That's
notepad.
from the
I was
Creative
like, I have
Educator
the same
Conference.
one. Where did I
It's
get that? And I was
amazing.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, we gave her a shout out on your podcast. So I want to give her a shout
Got to
out
shout her
here
out.
too. Yeah. If you don't know Leila Amati, you probably do,
Yeah.
actually. So yeah, thanks Leila for connecting us. But yeah, no, I love that like the having a checklist because it also my brain is all over the place and I will think about things um, either like while I'm driving, which is not really a great place to do a checklist now that I'm giving out that example, but like while I'm doing just kind of like those everyday tasks that I do all the time and my brain's just like has that freedom to just go places. Um, I will often think about tasks that I need to do
Mm-hmm.
but then once I have set time that is work time that I'm sitting down, I'm just like, I don't know, I guess I'll open up my inbox and
Right.
see. Like I don't remember what I wanted to do. And having that checklist, I could be like, oh yeah, this has been on there for like a week. I feel motivated to do that right now. Let me go ahead and tackle that.
Yeah, and having like some boundaries around your work time too. Like you mentioned, like being home, you might be like, "Well, I need to do the laundry, or I need to do this or that or the other."
Mm,
If you can, I it just depends on what works for you. For some people, they're like, "Okay, I'm gonna go into my office at 10 and I'm gonna work out all of these tasks." But for other people, that might not be what works for them. So for me, like I feel like I don't know if I'm the exception to the rule or if other people will relate to this as well, but if I'm feeling the energy to clean my house, I'm gonna do my house tasks and I'm gonna do my chores. And
Yeah.
the reason that I can do that is because I have set up my schedule for my business in a way to where I'm not constricted so much by time deadlines, because I know that I really enjoy working on my business. My business is really fun for me. And so if I have that energy to go do things around the house, I'm just going to go with it and do that energy. And then I know that I'll get back at my desk at some point, just because my brain naturally goes there. A lot of times I'm thinking about my business constantly. And so when I think, oh, I want to work on this flow desk form for this freebie that I just thought about, I'll go into my desk and then I'll do it, and then I'll have my list there that I'm like, "Oh, hey, well, I'm at my desk now. Let me go ahead and do some more of these tasks." And so the way that I'm able to do that is because I've given myself like the way my business is set up is I have a larger like timeline to turn things around to my clients. I have more white space in my calendar where I'm not constantly pushed up against those deadlines, so that I don't constantly feel stressed. So if you can consider changing your project timelines to give yourself more space and more freedom to like piddle around the house if you need to, because as creatives, like, we need time to kind of just piddle around, because that's when
Yeah.
we like get our ideas, you know?
Right. Yeah. I think of like going back to like video games when I was a kid,
Yeah.
where like, Street Fighter or something where you have like that little bar of
Yes.
energy and like you get to the special move or whatever. And it's like, as creatives, we have that bar. And it is like we can do the special moves. We can do the like head down, I'm doing this, getting everything done, but it'll go down. And if you don't take the time to piddle around, to rest and all that, you're just going to keep trying to do the special move. And instead, you're
Mhm.
just like falling on the floor over and over again.
That is such a great analogy. And like, also another thing I wanted to say is like, if you find that you are constantly like meeting this wall where you just can't get things done, or you're continually stressed by your client projects and your work and the things that you're having to turn around, maybe it's time for you to change your offer itself. Like, I
Uh,
have done that in my business where I have realized I just do not enjoy this at all. And so that's where I've changed my offer to think, okay, well, how do I actually want to be spending my time during the day? Do I actually want to be like, I used to do a lot of system setups, like 17 hats, honeybook, Dubsado setups, because I thought that's how I could make money. But then I was like, no, I really actually don't want to spend my time doing that. And I was constantly stressed. And that's
yeah.
one of the reasons that like I had that period of burnout, because I was just doing work that wasn't inspiring to me. So then I thought, okay, well, what do I actually want to spend my time doing? How do I envision my days actually going? What is my day to day ideal life like? And I changed my offer to give me more of that. So either give yourself more time or change your offer so that it's more fun to work on your business, so that you're not constantly meeting that wall or falling over, like you
Yeah.
mentioned from your video game guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is like really great to have that freedom. Like give yourself the freedom to change.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we're like, okay, this is, maybe 5 years ago, you decided I love the systems and I want to do this. And maybe that was bringing you joy. And maybe that was something that you could easily get into. But then eventually things changed. And like, I think too many times we like set up something, or we hear like, you got to niche down and do this one thing and you got to be known for this one thing and that's all you get to do. And it's like that is very limiting for people who are like decided not to do a 9 to 5 where you're doing the
Hmm.
same thing over and over. And we are creative and we want to have that freedom, but then we create businesses where we niche down and then we're stuck in a box again. But like giving yourself the freedom to change things up and to change your offers, like you said, and where maybe this was benefiting you last year, but things are changing now. And maybe you can phase that out, or maybe like take on fewer of those clients where it's still bringing in, like you're still enjoying it, but you're not doing that every day, all day.
Yeah. Something that I learned when I was studying to be a pianist was like that it's actually better when you're in a practice session practicing your music if
Hmm.
you do shorter bursts of time on all of your different pieces. that you're practicing for your recital, for example, instead of like what sometimes would happen, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to go and hash out this Beethoven concerto for a whole 2 hour session. But your brain just gets like so bored. But instead, if you could be like, okay, I'm going to do like the Pomodoro, like do 25 minutes on this Beethoven and then 25 minutes on the Mozart and then 25 minutes on the Debussy or whatever, like that could help you. So maybe you can apply that to your business and be like, okay, if you are finding yourself constantly stressed or like bored by your work, like maybe add in something else that is fun for you and do a little bit less of the other one and give yourself that flexibility to have like multiple things that you're doing. Cause I don't know about you, but as a creative person, like I need to be doing lots of different things to feel fun and energized and feel happy.
Mhm.
So I make sure that my business allows me the freedom to do that.
Oh yeah, this podcast is one of those things for me.
I love
I'm
that.
just like,
So
yeah,
fun.
like I just want to. If I could, I would do podcasting every day, all day, multiple times a day. It's just is so much fun,
But then you'd
and
probably get bored if that's all you were
I
doing every
probably
single
would.
day, all day.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. And then I'd be like, "Ah, another interview. I
I
have to
know.
talk again for a whole hour.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, and I like you mentioned this earlier about like how you've set up your business to like have that white space and to have those like your deadlines maybe pushed out a little bit than where they were before. And for anyone who's listening, like I can't do that. I have to have these deadlines. Maybe you do, but probably you don't. That's probably just something that you're making up in your head and like everyone else is doing this, I have to do it. Because like I know who's Two Man Studios, Erica and Lanny Mann. I did a coaching program with them a few years ago, and they were talking about their turnaround time, and that they're at like 12 to 15 weeks after the
Okay,
wedding.
yeah.
And I was like, that is far out. Like that, most people are talking like 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
The average is like 6 to 8 weeks. And they're like, yeah, but we need the time to go through and edit all of these, and we need the time to like put them away, like to where they're gone for weeks, and then you bring them back in and do like Erica does like a second cull through everything, where she's just like, oh, I totally missed this one. This one was something that I just like brushed over because it was too fresh and
Mhm.
I needed that time. So yeah, sometimes you can push those out, and sometimes you can like revisit your systems and your software and different things that you're using in your business to give you extra time to piddle around and still hit those same deadlines, but have extra time to where you can work on the fun stuff,
Yeah.
and you're not always trying to hit deadline after deadline.
Yeah, and I think if you are the type of person where you do thrive on like shorter deadlines, like I mentioned that I work really well with deadlines, I also think it's important that you have time for life to happen. If
Hmm.
you are like, okay, well, I can turn these around these photos in a week or whatever, like that's great for you, but maybe you should tell your clients that it's going to be 6 weeks so that you can get it done and then do that external motivator that I mentioned. Tell your friend, hey, I'm going to send you this gallery in 7 days, like so that you get it to them if that's what you want to do. But also allow yourself time for life to happen. This kind of goes along with another one of my tips, which is to have a low energy system for when you're feeling low energy, or maybe you're sick, or maybe something happens where it's a busy time with your kids, or
Hmm.
maybe you have like something tragic happen in your life and you need to take that space. Like just develop a system for that time where it's just the bare minimum tasks so that you know that your business is still operating and going to be running even when you need to take that time for yourself. So for me, I have like the bare minimum things for me is I know I need to show up for my mastermind calls on Mondays. I know that I need to show up for my coaching office hours. And then beyond that, if I know that I have my podcast episode coming out and my email newsletter coming out like once a week. Beyond that, I don't really need to be doing anything else because I'm showing up for my people and I'm putting the content out there that I've committed to regularly. So if I'm sick, I can take that time for myself. If I want to if I need to skip one of my networking events that I really, really love going to, but I'm just feeling low energy, I don't have to feel guilty about it because
Mm,
I have a system that will carry me through the times that I'm feeling low or the times that I need to take care of myself, if I'm sick or whatever. So it's important to like allow yourself that time for you to be a human and for life to happen and you to take care of your life.
yeah. Yeah. And your clients are also going to appreciate that. And they're also going
Hmm.
to be like, yeah, Christy, you're a human. Like we get it. I've had rough times, or I've had, loss in the family, or I've had sick kids at home. The beginning of this year, January, was rough. It was just like
Mm.
everyone was sick at different times, so it's like I constantly had someone at home with me, and then I got sick in February. So
Ugh.
it always I think that is really great to have, like, your normal systems, but then also that low energy system, the more of kind of like coasting, this needs to be done, but I don't need to do extra on top of this.
Yeah. And I also wanted to say, like, if you're consistently having those times where you have to go to your clients and say, hey, this happened and I'm not going to be able to turn this around, like I said, and that's happening consistently, you're like, oh, the kids got sick or this happened, then maybe that's a signal that you do need to have your timelines be longer, anyways. So
Hmm.
that way, when something like that happens, it's not out of the norm. It's like it's not the norm, it's the exception to the rule. And yes, your clients will be totally understanding for when things really happen. I think what I'm just saying is like allow yourself to be human so that you don't have to constantly tell your clients like, "Oh no, this happened. I'm not going to be able to get it to you," because they are going to be disappointed. But I'm just saying if that's a consistent problem for you, maybe
Hmm.
change the system so that it's not and then it becomes the exception and then we can
Yes.
have compassion and empathy for you and your clients will understand and everything. So all I'm saying is know your natural rhythms, know your external motivators, know what works for you, and just pay attention and design your life and your business to work with those things that naturally work for you. And you'll be so much happier. And trust me, because I'm so much happier than I was last year.
Yeah. Yeah. It really comes down to like knowing yourself, paying that time to really learn about yourself. That was something that I've been working on the last probably like 3 to 5 years, of really knowing who I am and taking the time to get to know me and
Hmm.
like how my body works and
Yeah.
how my productivity works, and then shaping stuff around that. So yeah, I love that. This is so good, Christy. This has been so great, so many great tips.
Thank
um,
you.
before we wrap things up and let people know where they can find you online and follow along, work with you, all those things, there's something that I like to do where we talk about what we're loving this week. And it can be literally anything: a new book, TV show, movie, a new food, whatever. What are you loving this week?
Okay, I have been really watching this show called Grace and Frankie. So it's about these two older couples. It's
Yeah.
on Netflix. And they're these two older couples, they're married. Well, then it turns out the husbands leave the wives for each other. And it sounds
Okay.
like terrible and tragic, but it's actually a really sweet and a really cute show. They deal with a lot of like aging and things that people who are aging kind of deal with, but then also like it's kind of a sweet romance. And so I've really been watching that. We've kind of been binging that on Netflix.
Okay, nice. I have seen like clips of that, and I've seen, because isn't like, I forget the actresses' names, um,
Oh
but
yeah,
yeah,
like
it's
Jane Fonda's
Jane
in it.
Fonda.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, no, I've seen a few clips of them on like TikTok, or I've seen like the trailer pop up on Netflix of like, you would like this show.
Yeah.
I need to actually add that to
And
my
it
queue
has
because it
Martin
sounds good.
Sheen too, is also in it.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
like Martin. Okay. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
there's like
cool.
7 seasons. I think it like wrapped up in like 2022 maybe. So, but
Okay.
there's 7 whole seasons that you can binge right now on Netflix.
Oh yeah. No, that's great. Okay. Well, very cool. I am loving I'm loving a whole streaming platform right now. It's a new one that I had never really heard of, called Tubi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it just like popped up on our Roku TV, and I was like, Okay, it's already like downloaded on here. Let me see what they have, because I've kind of like gone through a lot of the stuff on like
Yeah.
Hulu and Netflix, and obviously not everything on Netflix. I got good new shows to watch, but yeah, Tubi has like a lot of older
Ooh,
shows or
nice.
movies.
Yeah.
I'm a big horror movie fan,
Okay.
and they have like the like 70s, like 50s and 70s horror movies on there. So I've
Yes.
like made a whole list of like the original Amityville horror, and like I just watched Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, okay.
I had never watched that. It's not really like scary or anything. It's like 1973. It's not scary. um but
I love that.
but watching it, I was like, who is this guy? He looks so familiar. And it is a young Donald Sutherland.
Oh, wow. Cool.
For most people, probably know him as Snow from the Hunger Games.
Yeah, that's
Um,
crazy.
but yeah, I was like, oh, he's there. And then like a young Jeff Goldblum is in
Oh,
that
wow.
movie
No
too. And I was
way.
like, okay, I like this. This is cool.
That's cool.
But yeah, they got a lot of different movies, a lot of older stuff. It's just different vibes over there on Tubi. So yeah,
Check it out.
I've been liking that.
I love that.
Awesome. Well, Christy, where can people find you online? Where can they listen to your podcast and all the things?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can check out my podcast, the Dream Biz Podcast. John's episode will be up in a few months. I do have a kind of a little bit of a delay, but make sure you check it out and follow the podcast because John will be showing up there to talk about mindsets, to freedom from limiting mindsets. I cannot wait for that episode to drop. It was so good. We had such a great conversation. And then you can hang out with me on Instagram at Christy Johnson Creative. And my website is Christy Johnson Creative. And I would love to have you come join. I do bi weekly office hours for creative entrepreneurs. I would love to have you. It's $100 a month, super easy to get involved and stay involved and get some coaching. So I'd love to have anybody who wants to show up to the lab, is what I call it, the Dream Biz Lab. But
Nice.
otherwise, just hang out with me on Instagram. That's the best place to hang out.
Awesome. Well, cool. Yeah, I'll have all that linked in the show notes. And it sounds like our episodes might be coming out around the same time because I'm also
Yay!
like 2.5 months out from
Perfect.
when we record to
But all the
release.
live people get the sneak
All the
preview.
live people, yeah,
I
you
love
get
that.
to, yeah, it's fun. But yeah, well, awesome. Thank you so much for being here. This was so great to have like multiple conversations with you today.
Yeah,
And I loved all of this. I know I'm gonna love like going back and editing this too, and just
I'm
like
so glad.
hearing all these again. So yeah, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, whether you were here live or the replay. And I will see you for the next podcast episode. Bye, y'all.